Good morning, Blood Bowl coaches. Today we're going to give the Star City Blood Bowl League Week 5 update. We'll talk about where everybody is. We're at about the halfway point in the season now. And so things are starting to shape up as far as who's near the top, who's near the bottom, and kind of look at some of the stars that have come about since then. So first off, we're going to look at the Blue Ridge division. Right now, we have the Kansas City Dark Elf team run by Ron, which is currently in first place with 13 points. Closely behind is the Blackwater Ferryman in second place, which is Eric Pidcock's human team. Then we have third place with 10 points is the Southeast Purple Haze. And then in fourth place, we have the Scum Dogs of the Universe, which is Shad's Chaos Renegade team. And so right now, it looks like one of the things that the top three have an advantage of is currently they are have already taken their bye week and they're already ahead in points, which is a good thing, meaning that the games they have had, they've been able to score a significant amount of points to get them in first place, even being one game back. And so right now, half the teams, like I said, have taken their bye, half have not. But looking at some of the stats right now, it looks like none of the teams in this division are undefeated. None are without at least a draw at this point. And it looks like the Kansas City Dark Elf team, one of the interesting things is that they're playing some of the best defense and actually not some of the best offense. Most of the teams that have also scoring really well have about 8 or 9 touchdowns right now, and they've only got 6, so they're a couple touchdowns behind. But as far as touchdowns allowed, most people have allowed, 7, 9, 11, and they've only allowed 2. So they're in a really good spot. They have been getting beat up a little bit. They're at a -1 net casualty, and it looks like they should be able to keep that momentum going. They had 3 wins in a row, and then recently this week had a draw. So it looks like I'm trying to see who else is leading here. Looks like casualty-wise, casualties caused. The Scum Dogs of the Universe have 13 caused. Casualties taken, as expected, the Bob's Underworld Denizen team has suffered 15 casualties. Probably most of those are snotlings, I would imagine. And then looking at passing, it looks like the Ulthuan Winds have 12 completions for their team. Nobody's had an interception, and it should be a pretty good overlay there. It's still really close. Really, the difference between second place and say seventh place is just one 5-point win. So if someone could come out, get a 2-0 win, that should jump them up pretty significantly into maybe even the top 4 spots. If someone from really the Bloodied Barons up could get a 5-point win, they may even be able to jump up into 4th or 5th place probably. Looking at the Mill Mountain division right now, we have the Thundercocks at 22 points. They've played 5 games. They're currently the only undefeated team in the league right now. They're playing really good defense, only allowed 1 touchdown thus far. And casualty-wise, they're at a +7 net casualty. So their armor's been holding up as they're taking some of their opponents down. One of the things that also is interesting is they're also fouling a significant amount. They have 10 fouls higher than their opponents in the tracking here. And then closely behind, we have the Passing Pathogens, which is Maurice's Skaven team. They have 3 wins and a draw. And they're playing really good offense, scoring 11 touchdowns, which I think is the most in the league right now. Yep. So they're the best offensive team we have in the league right now. And then we have the Northwood Raiders and the Cave Spring Crash, both in 3rd and 4th, which is Nick's team and Alex's team. Both of those are playing really good Blood Bowl right now. And then we have followed closely behind a really close matchup, really between 5th to 8th place of the Wasina Wog and the Monster Mash, and everybody in between. Both the Rotten Judgment and the Taliban Valley Titans are all really close. One win away from fighting for that 5th or so spot. But it looks like most people are going to need at least, well, the Wasina Wog could get a 5-point win and maybe bump themselves into 3rd or 4th if the Crash or the Raiders lost. But fifth through eighth are at least probably 2 wins behind or a win and a draw from knocking off one of the third or fourth place teams at this moment. It looks like the Garden City Shadow Goats have yet to pick up a draw or a loss thus far, but they are getting. It looks like they're still doing fine in the casualties. They're just getting outscored a little bit as far as offensively, with only having 1 touchdown scored thus far this year. So let's take a look at the honors for each team. Right now, the most valued team is the Ulthuan Winds at 1,400 team value. There's a handful of teams at 1,390, the Northwood Raiders and the Cave Spring Crash, followed by the Passing Pathogens and the Thundercocks. So all of those are over 1,300 team value. Most fame right now, the Southeast Purple Haze are still the only team that's holding on to 7 dedicated fans. We have a number of 5s and 4s right now. Most experienced right now, the Scumdogs of the Universe and Passing Pathogens have both picked up 77 SPPs thus far this season. And the Southeast Purple Haze and Northwood Raiders have 74, and the Ulthuan Winds have 69. This best performance metric, which is a summation of touchdowns, casualties, completions, interceptions, injuries, deaths, and fouls. Right now, Bob's Southeast Purple Haze have 43. The Thundercocks have 41. Northwood Raiders, Ulthuan Winds, and then the Scumdogs have 36 or 37. Most score right now, like I said, right now it's Maurice's Skaven with 11. Best defense right now is the Thundercocks with 1 touchdown allowed. Most beast, so this is most casualties caused. The Northwood Raiders have caused 15 casualties, Scumdogs with 13, and then we have a handful of teams with 10 casualties caused. Most injured team, so this is the most beat up. We have a 2-way tie between the Cave Spring Crash and the Passing Pathogens. Most deadly team, and this will be interesting because both of these teams play each other this week. So each of these teams, both the Thundercocks and the Taliban Valley Titans, have both caused 3 deaths against their opponents. Most dirty players right now, it looks like the Liver Spoiled Wretches have the most fouls at 12 total. The Thundercocks have 12 as well. And then most sent off, the Liver Spoiled Wretches have had pretty much half of their, had 6 of their total fouls caused sent off. So a little less lucky as far as the Thundercocks have, since they've only had 2 sent offs. Most completions, right now that's the Ulthuan Winds with 12, the Southeast Purple Haze with 11. The Lothlorien Predators have 9. And the best stunty team in our league right now is the Bloody Barons. And I imagine they will hold that spot for the rest of the season. And then as far as the best run right now, the Thundercocks are on a 5-game winning streak, and a handful of teams are on a 3-game win streak as consecutive wins go. All right. All right, let's look at players. All right, players. We have one player right now, Anicetus. Anicetus is a blitzer for the Rotten Judgment, which is an Elven Union team, sitting at 175,000 gold pieces, which is huge. Lucian Bladesong for the Lothlorien Predators is sitting at 165. Dr. Frankenfurter is also at 165. Thermachus. So one of the interesting things is the Rotten Judgment has 2 of the highest, most valued players in the league right now, which probably means they're not spreading their SPP around quite a bit. They're probably hogging it a little. So one of the things that's really good about that is obviously if those players take off, they're very, very difficult to stop. But the bad side is if one of them die or get severely injured, their team gets really crippled the following week or maybe even for the rest of the season. Most valued big guy right now is the Incredible Bulk for the Cave Spring Crash. He's a Croxagore sitting at 200,000 gold pieces. Most valued stunty right now, it's just Sly and Slade for the Tricera Stompers. Both are 2 skilled up skinks. Most experienced single player right now is Pustulus Maximus with 32 SPP gained thus far. Thermachus has 27. Sneak Scuttle Spike for the Purple Haze has 25. And a couple have 22. Best performance right now, which I think is kind of funny, is Tater Cackle Foul, because that's totally because of fouls, because he's only ever scored like 1 touchdown, maybe 2. Um, but he is currently tied with Flicks Lateral as the two best performing players in the league right now as a single player. Most scorer right now, Pustulus Maximus has scored 8 touchdowns, followed closely by Sneak Scuttle Spike for the Southeast Purple Haze with 7. Most beast right now is led by Blothar the Berserker with 7 casualties caused. Most injured is Gnarls Barkley, who has been injured a total of 4 times in 4 games, maybe 5 games. I don't know if they've done 4 or 5, but he's been hurt in every game, I think. Most MVPs, there's a handful of people that have had 3 apiece. Albert Rothman for the Taliban Valley Titans Blitzer right now leads that. Most dirty player is Tater Cacklefowl. He's fouled 11 times thus far this season, been sent off twice, and looks like most completions, as I mentioned, is led by Flicks Lateral for the Southeast Purple Haze, and we have not had an interception thus far this season. So that's kind of a look at the honors thus far, and now we can take a look at the fixtures for this week. Looking at the fixtures, we got the Boggy Bottom Boys against the Lothlorien Predators. This is a High Elf against Wood Elf match. The High Elves, let's see, they got a Cannoneer Leader Thrower, Block Dodge Blitzer, Block Dodge Catch Catcher, and then a Block Catch Catcher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then they'll pick up a Journeyman, which should boost them up to about 1240 team value. Lothlorien Predators are also a little beat up right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they'll get 2 Journeymen here, which should boost them up to 1205. So they're going. I think these teams are going to be pretty even. Maybe the Lothlorien Predators can grab a mascot or something to try and get another reroll. But it looks like Mark's team has been getting pretty beat up here. They still have a tackle strip ball war dancer, so Lucian is still able to play, but they're missing Argent Forest Veil, which is the block dodge catcher, but they do have Flint Moonshade who will be able to step in. 2 rerolls for the Lothlorien Predators. Boggy Bottom Boys have 3 rerolls. Who do I think will win this? Do they have a tree yet? No tree. I think this is going to be a pretty high scoring match that'll go back and forth. I'm going to give this one. I'm going to say this one will be 2-1 with the Predators beating the Boggy Bottom Boys in this one here. Looking at the next match, the Ulthuan wins against the Blackwater Ferrymen. So the Ulthuan wins look healthy and they've got a pretty deep bench. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 players. Jesus. That's why their team value is so high. 3 rerolls, so they're sitting pretty good at 1400 team value against the 1120 of the Blackwater Ferrymen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they're going to get some inducements. They might even have enough inducements to grab somebody like Deeproot or Griff, maybe, especially if they're willing to supplement some of their money here. Which would be really interesting to see one of those big stars come out. But there's quite a bit of guard, 4 different guarders for the Blackwater Ferrymen. The Ulthuan Winds have a good amount of dodge. So who do I think will win this? I think if the Ferrymen can grab a good star, like maybe, let's see, you would go here. Maybe that one dude who's got like block tackle, what's this, Ivar or something? How much is he? Ivar. He's 245. He's got block tackle guard. That would be a good piece for them to grab. He's strength 4. So, I mean, if it was me, I'd probably grab Ivar. I could see where Grombrindle would be useful to just start stacking Mighty Blow on people. But yeah, I guess seeing how much they can get, Ivar looks like the pick for me if I was going to pick somebody. I think this one's going to be close. I think it's going to be 2-2 is what I think this will be. I think it'll be a tie between these two teams. I think it'll be hard for the Ferrymen to stop the Winds from scoring, but they'll be able to still score themselves. And if they can work some people off, they may be able to squeak out a win here. So next we have the Liver Spoiled Wretches against the Dwarves. which is just a high armor on against high armor teams. Lots of block here. Guard, extra arms block. Okay, 1280. So Gump, the block dodge runner, is interesting. And then it looks like this Troll Slayer, can he skill up yet? No, not yet. A couple guard. So I think the thing that the wretches have going for them is they're going to be a lot stronger than the dwarves here. Not to mention they have about similar speed. So I think, honestly, looking at the way these go, if at least they can keep the pestigores in, Dr. Fauci, spike protein, and then mRNA, then they may be able to um, still squeak out this win even though they're down in blocks. Because the tackle's not going to affect them. The thick skull, eh. So I think that if the disturbing presence and things squeak off, I actually think the liver spoiled wretches will take this one 2-1. The next thing is the Bloody Barons against the Scumdogs of the Universe. Bloody Barons are at 615. They're going to be missing Dr. Spruce. That's going to hurt a lot. But against the Scumdogs. So what could they do here? So they do have three big guys now, both the Ogre, the Rat Ogre, and the Minotaur. They have their Renegade Orc and then Pustulus Maximus at 1310. So they're going to get a lot of inducements. Let's see. Quick math, 695. That's a lot for like a lot. So they could take 100 away and still have 500 and something. I mean, they may even be able to get someone like Griff and Morg or Griff and Deeproot or something like that. That's 560. I've also seen some really good runs with like Carla and Griff, but I don't think this is the right match for that. I would really consider Deeproot for the Mighty Blow +2. He's strength 7, so he's going to be able to stand up to some of the big guys that he's got. And then trying to see if you could grab Griff, who's obviously a block dodge, sprint, sure feet, fend, strength 4 ball carrier, who can move up to really 10 spaces pretty easily. So I think that's the move for me. And I think that actually I'm sure that the Chaos Renegades are favored here, but I could see with the 2 stars, if they could grab 2 good stars, the Bloody Barons might actually be able to pull this one out. So I'm actually going to give this one. I'm going to give this one to the Barons, and I'm going to say it's going to be 2-1, with the Barons winning this one. Kansas City against the Southeast Purple Haze is the last match in this division, in the Blue Ridge division. So this is the number 1 and number 2 team, I think, in the league right now, in the division facing off. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 2 journeymen here. We'll boost him up a little bit. Still can skill up this guy. So our Arcus Nether Crusher could skill up. I think it's all we have right now. And then against the Southeast Purple Haze, which is, I mean, really relying on about 3 players, it looks like. The rest are just fillers as they die. 215,000 gold pieces, so they'll be up for some expensive mistakes. Possibly, and could lose. I can't remember what they can lose. Maybe 2d3 at the most, or a d6. Can't remember. But they could lose some money before this game. But it looks like they will face off. Now, what do I think will happen? I think that probably the Purple Haze take this one only because the Kansas City just now have 2 rerolls. They are down in some cash they need to save to try and bring back a blitzer because they're only down to 3 blitzers. So they're going to be saving their money there. They're going to obviously be susceptible to fouls. So I'm going to give this one 2-1 to the Southeast Purple Haze, winning this one over the Kansas City Dark Elf team. The next team in the next matchup in the Mill Mountain Division, we have the Rotten Judgment against the Temple City Topplers. I said Temple Titty. Temple City Topplers, and we have a really beat up Elven Union team. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they'll get a couple journeymen. But they still have their 2 stars right now, but they're going to be without a thrower. So that's really interesting because, obviously they're built for passing, but they don't have someone who's got 2+ passing. So they're probably, oh no, they do. They picked up another thrower. I'm going to guess for the sake of the fact they realize that. Um, so they do have a 2+ passer. They won't have cannoneer, but um, just really they only have one catcher, 2 catchers, but one that's actually useful. The other one is just more of a decoy, I think. And then the Temple City Topplers, or Random City Topplers, um, have random some more skills, and they have pile driver armbar guy, which that would be interesting to see it come up if there was a failed dodge away from someone like that. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're going to get another skink, so they're going to be playing with more skinks. They're down a Saurus because they had a dead Saurus in the last match. Um, I don't see this team skilling as well as other teams around them. I still think that the Rotten Judgment will take this one. I'm going to give it to them. I'm going to say it's 2-1 with the Rotten Judgment winning this one. The Thundercocks against the Talabime Valley Titans. The Thundercocks have skilled up really well. They have pretty much all block biggins. They have a guard biggin. They've got 3 guard blitzers plus a mighty blow guard block blitzer. Duff Gravebusters also got block, and then Tater Cackle Foul, which is fouling to his heart's content, has sneaky get. And they're sitting on 100K, so they'll also roll for expensive mistakes. 3 rerolls, 4 dedicated fans. So they're looking fine at 1335. The Taliban Valley Titans are sitting at 1290, so not far behind. Only 2 guard in this one, but they do have a tackle mighty blow. So that may scare someone like Tater Cackle Foul a little bit. But a couple blodgers. So that's the thing that I think is going to be key. They have an ogre. I'm not sure the ogre will be super effective. But if he stays in the game, he'll give them opportunities to throw this anonymous halfling hopeful maybe a little further downfield. And so they're sitting on 0 money, so they're not going to be rolling for expensive mistakes or getting any inducements. Or no, I'm sorry, they'll get inducements. They'll get like a mascot maybe, I guess, or like a coach, like a temporary coach. What do I think will happen here? I think it's going to be very difficult for the Titans to get anything going on the Thundercocks. One, because the armor is going to obviously be higher with the 10+ armor, plus all the block. Pretty much every player on the field is going to have block, aside from if the thrower is in, or maybe one of the Bull Teeth Scar or Tater Cacklefowl obviously do not block. But 9 out of the 11 guys on the field are going to have block. There's a handful of guard, 4 guarders, so double the guard. There is a mighty blow, which will be there working some people as much as they can. I think this will really come down to if these block dodge catchers can stay standing, which is obviously something that will be a result of the dice, really. If they get hit, if they're able to avoid getting palled, and obviously avoid getting hurt, then they'll be okay. The other is if Albert Rothman can maybe target Tater Cacklefowl and take him out, then that will obviously help the Valley Titans quite a bit. And so I think this one is still going to go to the Thundercocks. I'm going to say it's going to be 2-1. I still think the Titans will score, but 2-1 is probably what I think, unless the injuries just start really piling up. The Wasina Wog against the Monster Mash. So the Wasina Wog have 3, 4, 5, 6. They have all of their black orcs. They're down Gnarls Barkley, who's been hurt again, this time with an Ingling injury, or has had an Ingling. Lots of Mighty Blow against the Monster Mash, which has 2 block claws, frenzy regen, and then 2 guard sidesteppers. And let's see. They do have 1 flesh golem now. They could afford a second flesh golem if they wanted it. They probably should buy a flesh golem. They also have Rocky is, what is this, a double? So he could be a blodger or mighty blow. He could be a block mighty blow claws guy. I think that I would skill this guy up. And then I would probably skill this Rocky up. I wouldn't save for a stat increase if I were you. I would just take like either, what are they? Agility general is primary, so I would take a strength skill. I would take mighty blow on this guy if it was me. But nevertheless, Jen will decide what she wants, and then so who do I think will win? 1140 if they get so they're pretty even if they pick up the flesh golem, but I think they'll need the flesh golem because the stand firm will negate the grab and be able to take on some of the mighty blow. I'm going to say this one's going to go to the monster mash. I think it's going to be 2-1. The monster mash beating the Wasina Wog. The passing pathogens against Northwoods Raiders. So this would be a good one to maybe end the streak of the passing pathogens. Let's see. So another gutter runner. So they have 4 now? 3? 1, 2, 3. 3 gutter runners, 2 blitzers, a rat ogre, 3 rerolls. Nobody that's like super scary for Norse. Maybe aside from the rat ogre himself, I guess. But I wouldn't even call that there. This guy looks like he can't skill up. This guy, nope. So no more skills, 1360. They have a pretty good bench. Against the Norsewood Raiders, who are totally healthy with a Claws Mighty Blow Yeti. There's a tackle block Norse lineman. That's going to be effective. A blodger, frenzy block. Let's see, frenzy block. Lots of block. I think this one's actually going to go to the Raiders. I think this one's going to be 2-0. 2-1. I'll give him 1. Because Maurice likes to roll dice, so he may squeak one out. So 2-1 with the Raiders over the passing pathogens. Then lastly, we have the Garden City Goats against the Southwest Venom, which is ongoing right now. Nothing has happened yet, but what do we think is going to happen? Block dodge. Lots of block. Lots of strength 4. And a guard. Ooh. This could be a good one. I think this one will go... I actually think this one will be a draw. I think this one will be one that'll be 1-1. The Venom are going to be able to score just fine. And then the Shadow Goats, I think will be able to retaliate and move the ball down with, say, like one of their strength 4 blockers and be able to get one in, and nobody will be able to get a second one. So 11-15, I think that was it. Yeah, they got a journeyman. So I'm going 1-1 with a draw, and that is it. So that is round 6. I just want to thank everybody for playing thus far this season. It's been a really fun time. This coming Saturday is Casa Phantasmus. So if you signed up for that, then obviously send me your list as soon as you can. And if you didn't sign up for it, but you want to come watch the tournament a little bit or just kind of check it out, we're playing at Twisted Track pretty much all day from when they open. I think it's at like 11 or 12 all the way to like 8 o'clock at night. So anytime, come grab a beer, get some food, watch some Blood Bowl, cheer on your favorite locals. Plus, you'll get to meet some non-local people who are at these Blood Bowl events. And it should be a really, really good time. So I guess with that being said, everybody have a good week 6, and I will see you next time. Thanks.